put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, viewers. It's such a pleasure to be with you this morning. I am Candice Jackson, and I'm coming to you live from the studios at Port Mall in Scarborough, where we're hoping that you are having a wonderful morning no matter what you are doing. Just give God some thanks and praise that you were able to wake up today, because we know not everybody was able to have that same pleasure. But I mean, of course, we are coming to you live on our social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, on Channel 102, on Amplia. We are just so happy to be able to be with you this morning. And of course, we've got quite a lot happening. But before we get into anything, I just want to get into our news in 90 seconds with Ms. Tanika Cruikshank.
Thank you, Candice. I am Tanika Cruikshank, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, 17th of November, 2023, brought to you by B-Mobile. It's a Christmas season with B-Mobile. To lower-income households in the country and to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, the Hampden Lowlands Arkansas Community Council has erected 2 greenhouses in Tobago for agricultural purposes. This was done in collaboration with Habitat for Humanity. The National Director for Habitat for Humanity, Jennifer Mayasu, stated that the project aims to assist vulnerable people in the community to help themselves while providing food security. The Hampden Lowlands Arkansas Community Council oversees the greenhouses and a variety of crops, including celery, shadow benny, lettuce, kale, and chives that have been planted. The first harvesting took place on October 28, 2023. Minority leader Kelvin Morris claimed that the Tourism Secretary Tashia Burris knew there would be a problem with the Minority leader Kelvin Morris claimed that Tourism Secretary Tashia Burris knew there would be a problem with the availability of tourist bus long before the arrival of the first cruise ship. Speaking at a press conference, Morris referenced a letter addressed to the Tourism Secretary from the Maxi Association. It cited issues with outstanding payments and obligations related to transport of school children, amongst other reasons why they might not be able to increase demands for tours from cruise ship passengers. Morris called on Secretary Burris to confirm whether she had indeed received the letter and to clarify what actions were taken as a result. CEO of Caribbean Airlines, Gavin Madeira, expressed confidence in the airline's return to the profitability for the financial year 2023. Despite a $109 million loss in 2022 due to the pandemic, Madeira highlighted that the airline's resilience, noting a turnaround in 2023. He credited government support for CAL survival and emphasized the importance of adaptability aims challenges. And that was your news in 90 seconds, brought to you by B-Mobile. It's a Christmas season with B-Mobile.
This Christmas we celebrating, cause B-Mobile they coming with rating. So brace yourself for plenty prices, cause this season will be the nice. It's the most deals and the most vibes and the most cars and the most price. The most giveaways, the most parade. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile. I want a Christmas season with B-Mobile. Bring the sorrel with us to a Merry Christmas. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile.
Top up, buy a plan, sign up or pay your bills. Enjoy the best Trinbago Christmas. B-Mobile. Life is on.
And welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. Viewers, of course, you are watching Tobago Updates on to today, Friday, 17 November. We are halfway through the month of November, which means Christmas is very close around the corner. But before we get into the rest of our program this morning, we're just going to get into some birthdays. So coming up now, celebrating their birthday today on this wonderful Friday, we have Mr. Dijon Saul. So happy birthday to you, and I hope you have a very wonderful Day celebrating. Up next, we also have Miss Carissa Lloyd Andrews Quashi. And hope you also have a wonderful day celebrating with your family and friends. Whatever you do, make sure that you are safe and you have a good time. And then finally, we have on our list for this morning, we have Mr. Mervyn Winchester, and he is 60 years old today and also celebrated his 7-year anniversary on Sunday. So it's a weekend of celebration for Mr. Winchester. And of course, this is probably from your wife and your family. So I hope you have a very wonderful day. All right, viewers. So I guess this is a good time to say good morning to Mr. Julian Skeet.
Good morning indeed, Candice. And how are you doing this morning?
I am good. It's Friday, and I'm enjoying the fact that it's Friday.
Oh, yes. As Ria would say, thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. It's one of those times you look forward to the weekend ahead. For some, it's rest and relaxation. For some, you look forward to the excitement that the weekend intends to bring. But whatever it may be, just ensure that we keep safe on the outside. I hear some saying in the background that the events of the weekend will start as early as this evening. Wherever that may be, it will start as early as this evening. Perhaps it's Tanika in the background saying that, or who knows, camera and all our members of the technical team. But nonetheless, have no fear. The news will be brought to you before any of those festivities happen.
Certainly. I'm excited to get into some Christmas decorating this weekend.
Yes, well, if you're Candice, you're excited and ready all in November to get started. But just before we head there, viewers, we give you an idea of who do we have on the rundown this morning.
All right, so we're getting things started off this morning with Mr. Anselm Richards, of course, and he is a Chief Technical Advisor in the Division of the Finance, Trade and the Economy, as they talk about, reprioritizing the budget. So we know that on Thursday, we are going to be going to the House and we're going to hear what are the changes that will be announced to the budget.
All right, and today we'll also be talking Tobago Day celebrations. We'll be speaking with Avian Parks, and she's the Communications Director out of the Office of the Chief Secretary. So we look forward to those discussions. Tobago Day coming up the 4th of December that we celebrate each year. So we look forward to hearing about those activities surrounding Tobago Day.
And of course, later on in the program, we'll be joined by Mr. Marcus Daniel, and he's going to get into some sports with Mr. Terry Williams, and he's the president of the FC Phoenix Football Club, and Nigel De Souza, who is the head coach of Phoenix, as they talk about just the achievements that FC Phoenix has been, accomplishing within our space and taking our football to the next level.
And as we continue with sport, we'll also be chatting with Mosi Dinoon, no stranger at all, national swim coach. So certainly we look forward to those upcoming discussions on this Friday morning. Yes, you got the excitement there from me on this Friday morning. Viewers, we want to thank you so much, each and every one of you continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. It's that kind of morning. It's a Friday morning. In fact, it's Friday the 17th of November. So just in case you had those mid-month commitments and deadlines, we are past that mid-month period for November. So that's just to give you a heads up there. We are at Friday the 17th of November. Just before we head on out to this break, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Welcome to Standard, and today we're launching High. It's our newest brand that Standard is launching, and it's where luxury meets affordability. We're very proud of this brand. It's taken some time to get the right collection in place, and we're also going to continue to improve on our collection as time goes by and we listen to our customers more. We've changed our suppliers for this collection to European suppliers, so you're going to get that European finish. We've been very pleased by some of the results that we've been seeing in response to it in the market, and we're so glad to bring it to Tobago and show Tobago what Standard could, grow with them as well.
It's not just about looking good or having materials that are easily cleaned or sustainable materials, because the important thing about this particular collection is that it is quality. It is meant to last, and it lives up to the standard name about never beating on quality and price. This furniture particularly, especially our outdoor line, which ranges from fiberglass, plastic types of outdoor stools, outdoor chairs, even the outdoor furniture, it is built to last.
That's the importance with high, right? It's not only looking good, it's going to feature things that make your life easier, and it's not too damaging on your pocket. That's important for us.
This furniture fits the lifestyle of Tobago, of the Tobago customer, of the Tobago guest. It is the perfect type of furniture for you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. We're just at about 7:07 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I'm Julian Skeet, and we're heading into this segment this morning as we start our conversation off with Anselm Richards, Chief Technical Advisor at the Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy. And we're speaking about the upcoming exercise reprioritizing of our budgetary allocation. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Julian. Good morning to your co-host. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, world, wherever it you are. Thanks for having me this morning.
Excellent. Very good to have you on. So we got a very brief announcement, I should say, coming out from the Chief Secretary a little earlier on, and we know that we had some more details presented coming out of the East when the retreat would have started looking at the reprioritization exercise. And therefore some commitments coming for next week as it relates to the presentation. So we want to start in the first instance by just getting a little insight from you as the Chief Technical Advisor, the process that would have gone in terms of preparations to get to what we all anticipate and look forward to the details for coming next week. What would have been the process involved? Based on coming out of the announcement that took place of the actual budget presentation by the Finance Minister, and where we are heading to give an indication of our priorities here in Tobago with the funds that are now available to us.
Well, Julian, and it is important that we clarify the context in which this thing is happening. And I think you would have heard this administration repeatedly making the point that the current budgetary arrangement does not give the THA the kind of independence and predictability that is deserving of any budgetary process. So the law provides for the THA to submit its draft estimate of revenue and expenditure before the 30th of June in the financial year, in the previous financial year, for the current financial year, which is 2024, so that the minister can give consideration to those estimates in the national budget. What that really does, it's legally placed the control of the budgetary process and the development of the island in the hands of the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. So there is no independent legislative protection of the Executive Council's decision that is informed by the priority concerns of Tobagonians. So what we have is that the THA submitted budget, and that's its work plan for 2024. We requested $4.5 billion spread across recurrent 3.9, they're about 3.9 and 3.5 and 1 point something billion. I can't remember the figure exactly for development. What happens in the national budget is that the minister gave us $2.585 billion to cover the entire budgetary operation of the Tobago Assembly, which is 45% less than what we requested. In addition to that, when you drill down to the numbers under recurrent and development, the development budget, which is really the heart of activities to transform the Tobago economy and to provide the kind of growth and socio-economic development that the people of Tobago need. That allocation was cut when it compares to last year's allocation by 35%. So last year we were given $400 million. This year the central government provided only $260 million, which is $140 million less than what we got last year. Therefore, there's a significant misalignment in terms of the budgetary proposal of the Tobago House Assembly and the resources that are necessary to execute that program. Therefore, that triggered the need for us to go back to the drawing board in what we are calling the reprioritization exercises to ensure that we can align the work program to ensure that the things that are important and critical for us in Tobago, this administration can deliver them to the people of Tobago in fiscal 2024. So that has resulted in two reprioritization exercises. The executive held one around the first week in November in Speyside at the Manta Lodge, where they look at the overall picture and made what we call a fiscal policy decision as to how they are going to go forward with some of these critical programs, and also giving consideration as to whether we will have to spend more, meaning that we have to engage in what we call deficit budgeting at this time, finding extra money somewhere to support some of the programs and projects that the administration decide is critical to move the island forward at this particular point in time. So we have gone through that exercise.
Yes, I want to just get into there. As you mentioned, the reprioritizing of the budget and finding additional funds. What are those things that we are exploring? What are those avenues that we are exploring to supplement the budget to make sure that we can get some of our developmental projects completed?
So one of the critical things we can do, we are always pretty well allocated on the recurrent side, and we have done the 5-year trend analysis to see what the spend is like on the recurrent, and we have done the 5-year analysis and getting the average spend across the two major expenditure items, which are recurrent and development. So we would have done that, and we have seen a little fiscal space on the recurrent side, meaning that there are some things that we can do, and the THA does have the authority to move funds from the recurrent side of the budget to the development side. So we are proposing some restriction on that and transfer that money to the development program, so we can do more development work, because that is where the growth potential and the growth needs of the island resides. So we have done that exercise, and we have earmarked a block of funds from the recurrent allocation to transfer to the DP. That will give us some fiscal space and some fiscal energy on the development side of the budget equation to do more work in Tobago. So we are moving. I think we will be able to tap about $110 to $120 million from that kind of exercise. The Chief Secretary have shown that is a possibility that he can work with, and that will be able to transfer that to the development program. That will push our development budget now up to about $375 million, but that is still insufficient based on some of the critical needs that the island has at this particular point in time. You will recall that at the end of last year, around this time, we had severe weather activity that resulted in damage to a number of our road infrastructure, retaining walls and all of that. And those things are still outstanding in terms of their restoration. So we have a very large development program in terms of the island aging infrastructure. So that will require some more funds in that regard. We are hoping also that, and the Chief Secretary have been making very a chorus or a song about this. The Ministry of Finance through the Minister of Finance through the Minister of Finance through the Ministry of Finance have not been releasing all the budgetary allocations for Tobago since fiscal 2017. When we have done the reconciliation, we have written to the Minister, even as recently as September again, pointing out to him that from fiscal 2017 to the end of fiscal 2023, there is an outstanding parliamentary allocation that was not released to the Tobago House Assembly to the tune of $166.35 million. We are hoping and we are making representation that we can get this money. If we didn't get it at the start of the fiscal, we should be able to get that allocation in the mid-year review. Serious documentary representation and will be presented to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, hoping that they will honor their legal commitment to provide all the resources that are allocated to the people of Tobago to do the work of the Tobago House Assembly for the people of Tobago. So those are some of the major things. We are looking at other options. We have some fiscal space. We are looking to see if we can access. There's a loan from CAF to do some coastal protection work in Grange, in the Grange area and Pigeon Point. That has been approved about 3 to 4 years now, and there is some challenge in having access to the fund. We are putting all the institutional resources and capacity that is necessary to ensure that in this fiscal we can draw down on that $100 million, because definitely there is a need for us to put in that solution, that coastal protection solution at the Grange Bay. When we drive along that roadway, we see what is happening there. There's also a problem at Plymouth. I think it's Black Bay in Plymouth. And we have seen the kind of devastation coastal erosion is having and the impact that is having on Pigeon Point. So we need to have those programs going. And there's a block of fund that is secured from the CAF Bank, which is the Latin America Development Bank, for that purpose.
Mr.
So we are looking at those options to ensure that we can deliver to the people of Tobago what is necessary at this particular point in our development trajectory. But what we need to... Go ahead.
Two things I want you to update us on. Just as you spoke about the CAF Bank, I know coming into office, there would have been an indication that in that same year, there would have been a loan granted by to the Tobago House of Assembly, the greater part of which would have been received by the former administration, and there was still a balance on that to be received. If that is the same reference, that thing that you're making reference to, if you can give us an update on that, whether or not this current administration did receive the balance, because at the end of the day, no matter who's the administration in office, you're responsible for the repayment. And two, the matter as to whether or not the allocations through central government, it's now 2 years in office, have they been coming as per the Constitutional and the Tobago House of Assembly Act requirement in terms of en bloc?
Well, we have problem on two fronts. So let me deal with the first issue. I think there are two issues. There is a CAF loan of $100 million that is specifically designated to do coastal protection. So that is a loan that the central government took from the development bank, the Latin American Development Bank, CAF. So that is a different thing. Then we had the bond financing option, which was a $300 million bond financing opportunity that was approved by the central government under the last administration, so that the THA could have gone to market and borrowed $300 million for development work. They did went to market. First Citizen is the entity that is handling the bond financing operation on behalf of the Tobago House Assembly. But when they went to market, they only raised $165 million. So there's an outstanding block of funds that the THA can access from the bond financing of $132 million. It means, therefore, we'll have to trigger that with First Citizen and let them go back to market to see if we can have secure the investment from the institutional investors to buy those bonds. And we will hold that bonds for 5-7 years and pay the operating cost, which is the interest, over the period. And then at the end of the period, whether it's 7 years, we'll have to do what we call a bullet payment. What is happening with the first phase of this exercise is that they took the $165 million, it becomes due in terms of the maturity, and the payment of the $165 million back to the institutional investor is dated for fiscal 2027, around July 2027. It means, therefore, we have to start putting aside blocks of fund that should amount to $165 million to meet that bullet payment in fiscal 2027. We have been having conversation with the Ministry of Finance and the Minister of Finance in particular. We have written to him on several occasions. We have made the request in the last 2 media review for them to provide funding for what we would have established, what we call a sinking fund account, that we would have put in one of the commercial bank in an investment. So every year, when you divide the $165 million by the 5 years that was remaining at the time, we would have probably required just around $40 million on average a year. We would have placed that in a special account so that in 2027, we have the $165 million to meet that legal obligation to the investor. The Minister of Finance have not entertained that. He is defaulting to a position that the last administration would have advanced, that they will find the funds to repay. In the current context of the financial position of the THA, there is no way that the THA can raise that money with that debt to contractors that is about $500 million remaining. There is no way in the current financial arrangement between Trinidad and Tobago and the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the THA that the THA can secure that kind of funding to meet those commitments. Mr. Skeet, let me say this to you. The THA by nature and the way it is set up legally, the THA is a spending and expenditure entity. The THA cannot borrow without the approval of the minister. The THA cannot raise funds in the open market without approval of the central government. And the THA, we have a very small economic base in Tobago, so therefore our revenue collection is very low, and there are significant leakages in terms of tax being paid in Trinidad. So there's a whole myriad of issues that we need to sort out where that is concerned. So there's no way the THA can generate the kinds of revenue to pay the liabilities that are owed to contractors, which is about $500 million, and to provide funding to meet this commitment of $165 million in 2027. The central government has to step in and provide the fiscal support, the financial support to the THA to meet these obligations, because these are all inherited obligations. Let me make that point. So there's no way this administration can meet those outstanding liabilities without significant support from the central government. So that is the reality. In terms of the $165 million bond, the Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance have decided to be very disciplined, fiscally prudent, because of the high debt level that the THA, liability level that the THA is carrying. He's very, very not inclined to go back to the market for that $135 million because he understands the debt burden that the THA is already facing. So we are looking at creative ways. We are demanding the $166 million from the central government. That will bring significant fiscal energy into the system for the people of Tobago. And we are looking to see how we can move around funds internally to create a matrix that will give the THA the opportunity to deliver on the critical programs and projects that will change the life experiences of the people of Tobago and move Tobago along that path to becoming the greatest little island on the planet.
The THA, we're in this closing segment because we're just out of time. But just tell us very quickly, have funds been coming in as per the constitutional requirement, which is on block? And I think, according to my information, it's quarterly that it should be transferred and not monthly.
Well, that has been an issue even before this administration came into office. And when the Chief Secretary, Mr. Farley Augustine, came in, we had conversation with the Minister of Finance. He would have explained or present a case of the cash flow challenges the central government was experiencing at the time. We were able to negotiate an improved position from what was obtained. Remember, before this administration came in, they were getting the allocation was being released monthly to the THA, which presents a degree of uncertainty in terms of your programming of work for the Tobago Assembly. So when we went in to the minister and have the conversation, and that was also generating significant interest charge on the overdraft facility on the fund account of the THA. That was unsustainable. We had a very straight conversation with the minister that the situation must be improved. It was not restored 100%, but we are now at the place where we are getting 2 months in block and then the following month. So it is working in a better way than when we met it when we came into office, because we have had the hard conversation with the minister and told him at a minimum we need to get 2 months in block and then the following month we get the other one. So it is working out. It is not in conformity with the law, but it is an improved position from what we met when this administration came into office.
All right. Well, we want to thank you so much, Mr. Richards, for being on with us. And viewers, please don't go anywhere because we got to take a quick break and we'll be back with more of the Tobago Updates morning show.
Want to improve your child's comprehension and creative writing skills in record time for SEA? Calling Preps 3s, 4s and 5s, Sundays only, 3-hour sessions of individual attention with a qualified, trained, experienced teacher of over 35 years and an SEA examiner. Call 266-5952 or 222-2082 for further information. Ask for Ingrid. Excellent results all the time.
The Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development has relocated its Crown Point office to Glen Road in Scarborough to better serve you, our clients. Our main office is located at the corner of Glen Road and Glen Road Branch Number 1, the building formerly occupied by Coastal. Our grant and electrical inspectorate services can be accessed at Number 2 Montessori Drive in Glen Road, Building 1 and 2.
Tobago
Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
So your car break down.
Oh, no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protects your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It's 7:27 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I'm Julian Skeet, and we're heading into this segment this morning as we speak in Tobago Day 2023. That big day, the 4th of December, as we celebrate annually. And on set with us, we have Avian Parks, Communications Director out of the Office of the Chief Secretary. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Julian, and of course, good morning to all your viewers listening all over the world. A pleasure being on Tobago Updates as usual.
And it's the kind of day that you're excited to talk about because, you
Correct.
know, far and wide, we've seen the growth and development of Tobago Day over the years. Tell us a little bit about that transition. I know we started from the days of Assembly Day and moving into where we are at now with a Tobago Day celebration. Where are we at this year? What are we celebrating? What year?
Great. So, Julian, actually this year is the 43rd anniversary of the Tobago House of Assembly in its new formation since Act 37 of 1980. So we are 43 years strong, as we have in this year's logo. And the theme this year is Greatest Little Island on the Planet, THA 43 years strong. So it is an exciting time for Tobago. I'm happy you started off by mentioning the actual day of Tobago Day because a lot of persons still ask, still don't know, but it is December 4th every year. It used to be Assembly Day, as you said. Over the years, it changed to Tobago Day to incorporate all of Tobago, all that we have achieved and accomplished, our identity, our culture, our food, more all-encompassing, as opposed to just the government aspect of it.
Excellent. So my understanding is that the celebrations start well before and head up to the 4th.
Yes,
so let's dive right on in.
More or less. So interestingly enough, we launched today. So we launched Tobago Day today at the Shore Park Complex. Whilst it's an invite-only event, it will be streamed live on Facebook on the Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page. So I encourage persons to tune into the live from 10 a.m. or just before. We'll be streaming live from the Shore Park Complex. So we start off today with the media launch, and then on November 30th, we have the youth debate, which will be held in the Assembly Legislature. And of course, that's where our young people take over the House. Oh, yes. Literally, they take charge and they debate a motion. And the motion, I'll just read it. Be it resolved that Tobago Day be made a national holiday to reflect the importance of the island's internal autonomy. So that will also be streamed on Facebook, as all the debates in the House usually are. So we really encourage and look forward to hear what the young people have to say.
And this is indeed very commendable. And I have to say kudos going out. You know, sometimes we see with changes in, persons at the helm, things go in, things come out, things are modified. But this certainly is one of the things that have been built on.
Correct.
Staples as part of Tobago Day. Really an excellent representation of our young persons. And we know all things youth and community. I am there in full support. And it's good to see that this having started with then presiding officer Kelvin Charles, on to Dr. Angus and the likes, right up now to presiding officer Abby Taylor, that we continue to see the growth and development. So kudos in terms of ensuring that this keeps going.
Certainly, because it's important to keep the youth involved, have them in the know, and it's training ground for them as well. Whilst I'm on the Assembly Legislature, I'll just add that they also have an essay competition for Tobago Day. The topic, why is Tobago Day important? You can get the guidelines on their page or the Tobago Day page. So it's ages 10 to 12, 1 essay per child, maximum 500 words. It must include historical information on the creation of Tobago Day. The deadline is Friday 24th, which is next week. So you still have a week from today, and the winners will be announced on Tuesday, 28th of November.
Excellent, excellent. So we get started with the Tobago Day debate. And I think an excellent way to start, our young people in focus, our students representing. And even if you can't be at the chamber, ensure that you are tuned in to view and to lend your support. And where do we go from the 30th of November?
So after the 30th, we have the 1st of December, and we have 2 activities on that day. So we have the triathlon from 5:30 a.m., and that starts at the Buku Beach. So actually, it starts at the Buku Community Center, because what we have is a walking race, because we try to add a little excitement and competition in it. So we have a walking race, which will be done by either secretary or assistant secretary or administrator of a division. They will then hand over to a swimmer at Buku Beach, and the swimmer swims out 100 meters, returns. A runner will take over, run down to Montgomery Junction. A cyclist takes over and goes up to Lambeau Junction, and then a runner takes over from Lambeau Junction up to Shore Park. So that's the triathlon on December 1st from 5:30 a.m. And at 10 a.m. on the same December 1st, we have the cookout, interdivisional cookout competition at the Shore Park Food Hub from 10. So teams can comprise or should comprise 5 persons, and 1 person can be a non-THA employee. However, they must not be an established business chef or caterer in the industry.
That's an interesting component.
So I must add that. But you can be a non-THA employee. And they have 4 meats to choose from. They have to choose 2 out of the 4. So it's chicken, pork, iguana, or crab. So you choose 2. It must be a traditional harvest dish. So what you will get when you go to one of the village harvests. And you also have to do a local beverage.
Excellent indeed. And I'm happy to hear with the startup. And I like the triathlon connecting with the cookout.
Yes.
So by the time you've started from 5 a.m. there, down at Buku, going up to that 7 o'clock hour, you get a little break in between, and then you're heading straight to Shore Park, a food hub for the cookout.
I don't know that the food would be ready, but you can head to Shore Park for the cookout.
All right.
And the judges are from THTI, Chef Arthur Patrick, and Harvest Gods.
Excellent, excellent. So the judges are in line with persons who are well prepared and trained, etc., to be able to give that kind of guidance. And remember, folks, yes, it's competitive, but we want to enjoy the experience as we celebrate Tobago Day. I'm also happy to hear the triathlon getting started by the divisions representatives from the secretary, from the heads.
Of course, they have to be involved as well.
And I hope we do have secretaries trying to defer to assistants and administrators. That's only if you're probably out of the country. But let them take up that challenge so as to ensure we see that support. I think it's an excellent lead by example, something that started before, and definitely happy to see the continuation, in that regard. All right, so we're heading straight across now from the 1st. What do we have coming up after that?
So on the 2nd, which is the Saturday, we have the Sports and Family Day, and that one is open to everybody. So, it's not just THA employees. Of course, the family and friends of THA employees, you are welcome to come and participate. That will be at the Buku Integrated Facility from 6 p.m. We'll have a kids' corner, novelty races, and just different types of activities happening. And that really promises to be a beautiful evening of fun. The last one we had, I can't remember, it would have been before COVID, I believe.
Yes, correct. That would have been a while.
We had a really good time. And so we expect it to be even better than the last time. So we encourage persons to come out
And I see that this is a night activity, so it's in the
a
cool
night
part of
activity.
the day.
It's cool because, you know, we have been getting some sweltering numbers, although the last couple of days it's been rainy. But yes, it's cool, and then it caters for the Saturday worshippers and the Sunday worshippers as well when you do it Saturday evening.
Excellent, and I like the fact that you're gently reminded this is for the entire family. So
Yes.
you must, I think by the time you go across Tobago, you must have a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, auntie, a uncle, somebody that connects you to the THA. So we expect Tobago to be a part of these celebrations. And tell us about December 4th itself as we get to the big day.
So just before we go to December 4th, on the 3rd of December, we're actually having a military tattoo. And we haven't had one in Tobago for a number of years. So that's going to be at the Sid Gray Sporting Complex in Roxborough from 4 p.m. We are still fine-tuning it. As I said, we haven't had one in a long time, but we do have some confirmed bands. And it's really a display, a fun display from bands from the military. So we do have the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, we have cadets, we have Boys Brigade, we have Pathfinders, and we're just filming up on a couple others. So that will be on December 3rd.
Excellent.
Then we culminate on December 4th. So in the morning, 10 a.m. at the Scarborough Library, we have the Thanksgiving service, and everybody is welcome to that. It is important to give thanks. We have accomplished a lot as a people, as an island, and you know, God has just been so good to Tobago. So that is a very important aspect of our celebration. So that's 10 a.m. Everybody's welcome. And then in the evening, we have the Tobago Day Awards. Invitation only, but again, it will be streamed on the Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page. So do look out for the stream, and that starts at 6:30.
All right, great. And in case persons want more details, just remind us again the time for the media launch that takes place
So
today.
the media launch
and
this
where
morning
they can
is
connect
10.
for additional information.
It's 10 a.m. You can go to the Tobago Day page, or you can go to the Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page.
All right, excellent indeed. Any additional information you'd want to share about Tobago Day before we close this morning?
I would just like to encourage Tobagonians to be proud of Tobago, to be proud of your island, to be proud that you are Tobagonian. I think it is so important for us to really push and foster a sense of patriotism, love for island, love for country. Sometimes I really feel it's so much easier to criticize, and I'm not saying that constructive criticism isn't important, but I also believe that there are a lot of things to be celebrated, and we should celebrate as well.
Excellent. And I think that's an excellent message and a tone on which for us to wrap as we speak Tobago Day. It's a gentle reminder. Greatest little island on the planet, 43 years strong. I mean, we all preach it far and wide, putting Tobago first. We have an excellent opportunity here, whether you're in the private sector, you're in the public sector, you're involved in your church, your community group, sporting group, you're into public speaking and debating, whatever your interest may be. There is something for you happening for Tobago Day, and certainly we want to wish the very best, and we look forward to the celebrations. I know I will be enjoying it to the fullest, and I trust that you will too. And for those of you who are on the outside of Tobago, you're out there on the diaspora, really representing and exciting, feel free to log in. That's why we got the live for you as well, to have the opportunity to connect. So once again, we say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julian.
Communications Director out of the Office of the Chief Secretary, Avian Parks, joining us here on the set this morning as that gentle reminder, December 4th, Tobago Day. We look forward to the celebrations. Viewers, at this point, we take this opportunity to thank you so much for continuing to tune in to the Tobago Updates morning show. But we're heading straight on out to a break, and probably it's a fitting time for me to ask the Communications Director to join in with me as we remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
You know, who would I ever believe, Jessica could take care of a child,
I know, right? I'm a kinship foster parent to my nephew Malik.
Papa, you remind me of my grandmother, you know, when she used to take care of my cousins.
If I didn't step in, I don't know where he would have ended up. Plus, I get support from Children's Authority, training, and counseling.
But Jessica, you're not married?
That doesn't matter once you have a safe home and you're related to the child. You're good.
So did this give money to do this?
Yeah, they do give me some money.
So, Auntie, you can buy all my game for me?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Malik, but that money's to take care of you. Okay, smubble up, beans.
I will not try. Mommy, you can buy.
No.
Wait, I didn't even finish my sentence.
About Lamborghini, you can get lamb stew for lunch.
Auntie Jessica could only come when you come in, because all them does do is talk people business.
Malakaya Malik will go in on the bed.
But mommy, the boy don't even live here.
Yeah, go to your bunkers.
What? Bunkers? Where's that?
I think I'm getting pretty good at this.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, and of course, thank you so much for staying with us on Tobago Updates Television. And of course, I want to shout out to Julian Skeet, of course, for holding it down in the first half hour. But of course, we're on Friday and we're talking sports. We're talking sports, repping the biggest team in the world, Manchester United. Yes, if you have a problem with that, take it to God in prayer. Yeah, so of course, our first guest this morning on this sport morning, I have a very distinguished gentleman, of course, Coach Nigel D'Souza. And we're talking about Phoenix and their, of course, elevation to the Tier 1 league of the Trinidad and Tobago Football League. Good morning to you, Nigel.
Hi, morning.
Yeah, fantastic. I was hoping to get Mr. Williams as well, Coach Terry Williams.
Yeah.
You know, because I wanted to talk about the transition from 1976 to now, where Phoenix are going to be participating in the highest level of football in the country. But he's not here at the time, but I know he can, of course, share that history with our viewers because you're expecting that the entire public of Tobago will be supporting Phoenix as the Tobago team representing at the national level. And I say national level because this is where the national coach will be looking for in terms of local players to outfit the national team. But before I get into that, I mean, you watched the game last night?
I did.
I mean, your thoughts on, I mean, we had the big USA for 80 minutes.
I thought defensively we were solid. I thought we were organized. Obviously, getting a red card that early.
Yeah, boy, that put us under some pressure.
It puts you under some pressure. But the guys did well to hold out for that
80
long.
minutes,
but it shows you how important concentration is for the full 90 minutes. Drop a couple, concentration-wise, we drop our level a little bit and we concede 3.
3 goals.
So it was tough.
Yeah.
It was
so
tough.
You're going to be at the stadium on Monday?
I will try to, but we have our own preparation. I mean, next week, Friday, the football starts.
Yeah.
So we have a long week ahead for ourselves as well. The 20th, we're supposed to submit our 25 to the so Monday will be a busy day for me.
Yeah. Let's talk about the preparation for this Tier 1 competition. And as you mentioned, you know, a lot of things behind the scenes. Compare behind the scenes at this national level to playing in Tobago.
Chaos. And I say chaos in a good way. Just because there's so much other things now that you need not to only prepare yourself for, but the players and the rest of the staff have the job to do as well.
Yeah.
We have a lot more to prepare for. You have a lot more to deal with when it comes to administration for this level. So it's been quite a journey so far.
Yeah. In terms of media attention as well.
Definitely.
I mean, you're the gaffer, so you had to attend early and answer all the hard questions.
Yes, I do, but at the same time, I mean, it's not a burden.
You're not a burden.
I mean, we as a club have been wanting this experience ever since I came into Phoenix.
Yeah.
I've always heard Coach Terry speak about wanting to get the team upstairs. We are grateful that now is the time we have been able to do it. And it came at some point. And when you speak positive things, at some point, God answers your prayers. But doing what we need to do as a staff and as a club, and just preparing as best as possible.
Yeah. Before I get to the nitty-gritty in terms of who you play and in home and away and all these different things, I want to get a little history from you. How long have you been with the club?
Right. I came to Tobago when I was probably 20.
Right.
Initially, when I just came, it was to play with Tobago United, and then that.
So you had that feel in terms of pro league football?
Yeah, I played a little bit. I played a little bit. And then it just kind of whittled out. And then I started playing with Phoenix when I was like 21.
Right.
And then Coach Man was there. He asked me, he said, look, you have an eye, come and start a coach the academy. And then I joined, so I've been coaching since I've been 22.
Right.
I'm 37 now. So I've coached all throughout the youth teams as well as girls football, boys and girls, coach with Bonaccord. So I've been with Phoenix a while.
So some of the guys that you have coached on the youth team, are they now members of your squad here?
Definitely.
Right.
The core of the team is guys myself and Coach Terry have been working with since they probably 6, 7.
Yeah.
So Javon Williams, Tuvi, Jeremiah Bristol, all these guys I've coached coming right up.
So, and you think that this would have contributed, or this is what would have contributed to the success that Phoenix would have had over the last 2 years? You won out the Tobago League, and of course, you swept the Tier 2, and I'm hoping that you go and swap the Tier 1 as well. You sweep the Tier 1 as well. So you think that connection that you would have had with the players at that very junior level would have actually, we're down to the benefit to the success of the team now?
Well, throughout Phoenix history and the time I've been there, the youth teams have always been a feeder ground for the senior team. So throughout the time, all the years in Super League and stuff like that, there's always been that coordination between the juniors come straight up, so they teach the same thing, come right up. So when they reach the senior team, it's an easy transition for them to play at that level.
That's a must.
So we have done that throughout. So yes, it has been a contributing factor, but have always been that way throughout.
So in the pro league now, I think one of the requirements, you must have 2 teams. You must have a youth. Is it a youth team?
You must have youth teams.
You must have a youth team, and obviously the youth team will be able to feed your senior team. Is that process? Because I know you have a team in the TFA league. So is that going to be your Tobago-based team feeding the senior team?
We would like it to be.
Right.
At the same time, guys have to understand it's a chance. If you prepare yourself properly, if you are professional enough, you could get a chance to step up. And we have had a couple of the Tobago players
stepping up,
training with us. Obviously, because you need that bridge.
Yeah.
So definitely we have a young core down there as well. 18, 19 guys who just finished school. So we have a young core there as well. So those guys have to realize there's an opportunity at some point. They may get a chance to come upstairs. So we always want to keep that bridge there.
Right. So tell me about your first match. Are you going to have home and away matches? Where are your matches going to be held in?
The football is 2 rounds.
2 rounds?
Yeah, it's 2 rounds. No, remember before it was just a truncated season.
Right, so it's 2 rounds this time, more football.
Now is 7 months of football. We start on next week Friday against the defending champions.
Defense Force. And that's where?
That's Trinidad. So Hasely Crawford doubleheader. We play in the second game.
Big league, and it's going to be live as well.
Yeah, it will be live on Sportsmax. So we start next week Friday, and then from there is 7 months of grueling football. Yeah, so the guys had to really step up in terms of how they treat their body and for throughout the time, because it's much more football now to play and at a higher level. So we have been trying to preach that message as much as possible, and hopefully we could.
And where our match is going to be held in Tobago?
At present, we have the Dwight York Stadium commitment to have us. So we'll see how that process goes going forward. Hopefully, at some point, Kin and Bonaccord field will get addressed that we may be able to hold a game there at some point.
Right.
It will be, for me and the club, I think that would be fantastic to actually hold a senior Premier League game at Kin and Bonaccord. No doubt they're going to be packed. So hopefully. But for now, we're looking at Dwight York Stadium.
And just before you go on Nigel, obviously, you mentioned that some of the players from the Tobago team will come up to the senior team. Any new addition to the squad in terms of players outside of Phoenix?
Yeah, we have had a couple of guys come from Bethel and other clubs who would have asked to come and try out for the team. And we have afforded them the opportunity. We don't pick the squad until Monday. When I say Monday, probably Sunday night. and then we announce it for the guys on Monday.
Yeah.
But we have had guys come from other clubs and try for the team. So
Fantastic.
Monday we'll see how it goes.
Fantastic. I'm Nigel, have to end the interview here now, but I know that you'll be back with us, of course, when you beat Defence Force. We're going to talk about that as well. And I want to wish the Phoenix Club all the best. Mr. Cadet and all them guys behind the scenes working very hard. Coach Terry Williams, I would love to have him here this morning to talk about, how proud he is of the transition the club would have made to actually get to the top stage. And of course, the whole of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago and the region, they are going to be seeing that club out of Kingdom One Accord come point, participating in the top tier. And I trust that, of course, once the guys put their best foot forward, we're going to see more Tobagoans getting onto the national team.
That is the goal.
We see Tobagoans beating the USA in years to come. Guys, been chatting with Nigel D'Souza, head coach of FC Phoenix. They are going to be participating in the Tier 1 of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association League. And of course, it's a major accomplishment. The last time we had a Tobago team in the top tier, as was Tobago United. But now we have another team, and they are rising to the occasion. That's 1976 FC Phoenix. So viewers, stay tuned. Coming up next, we have Mosey Dinoon, the swimmer. We're going to talk about him swimming from Tobago to Trinidad. And not take a boat in, he's going to be swimming from Tobago to Trinidad. But continue to share the live, and when we come back, Mosey Dinoon.
Christmas we celebrating, cause B-Mobile they coming with rating. So brace yourself for plenty prices, cause this season will be the nice. It's the most deals and the most vibes and the most cars and the most price, the most giveaways, the most para. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile. I want a Christmas season with B-Mobile. Bring me sorry, let me toast to a Merry Christmas. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile.
Top up, buy a plan, sign up or pay your bills. Enjoy the best Trinbago Christmas. B-Mobile, life is on.
Want to improve your child's comprehension and creative writing skills in record time for SEA? Calling Preps 3s, 4s and 5s, Sundays only, 3-hour sessions of individual attention with a qualified, trained, experienced teacher of over 35 years and an SCA examiner. Call 266-5952 or 222-2082 for further information. Ask for Ingrid. Excellent results all the time.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Hi, welcome back, and of course, thank you so much for staying with us here on Tobago Updates Television. Sporting morning here on set, of course. We just had a really nice conversation there with Nigel D'Souza, head coach of FC Phoenix. And now I'm joined by Tobago's best swimmer, swimming coach as well, Mosey Dinoon. Good morning, Mosey.
Good morning, Marcus.
Fantastic. And we're talking Aquathlon this morning.
That's correct.
Yes, I'm told that you guys have an event coming up. Of course, share with the public what this event is all about.
So we have the Black Rock Aquathlon. It's a collaboration between XO Multisport Club and the Tobago YMCA Aqua Warriors.
Right.
As you know, we grouped together, and one of our main athletes, as you know, is Jacob Cox, who recently he came third in the national duathlon. And he came first in his age group. He's doing very well for his 8 months in the sport so far. So because of that and following that, we're trying to see what other talent we have in Tobago. So we came together to come up with this duathlon. So we have 4 age groups going on for this. The aquathlon is swim and run. Right?
Swim and run.
Swim and run. That's all. So we
no
had
riding
in there. Just the swimming and running. So you know,
that's the usual thing with aquathlon.
Correct.
Explain the other one. It's
duathlon. Duathlon is run, bike, run.
Oh.
And triathlon is swim, bike.
So there's a transition. Aquathlon, the duathlon, and then the triathlon.
Yeah. So it's 3 different parts that you think. So what we're looking at is people who can make, because you know, some people it may be difficult to ride, but you can run and you can sort of swim. That's why we teach it at the YMCA. So, you know, come on down. And that way we could get you onto a national team. That's the goal that we're looking at.
And you find that, I mean, Jacob is looking for company out of Tobago.
Yeah. All right, so what we have is the aquathlon. That's on the 3rd of December.
Yeah.
Races start at 7 a.m. We have 4 different age groups. The first age group is 10 to 12.
Right.
They swim a 200-meter race. That's just 8 lengths. Just 8 lengths of the pool.
And this is at Black Rock, right?
At Black Rock. We had the YMCA
facility. At Black Rock. Okay.
No, we're using the pool, actually. The pool. So you don't have to worry with the elements.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're using the pool. No elements. You just come, do a 200-meter swim.
So 200, that would be like how many laps?
8 laps.
Wow.
Up and down. 10 to 12. And then after they do a 1K run. So from the YMCA facility up on top to the Black Rock field, they just run 1 lap of the Black Rock field, and then they come back down. And that's the first race for the 10 to 12.
Right.
And like you see here, we have the 10 to 15 age group, which is 400.
Right.
And then the 2K run is you go
That's going to be like 16 laps.
Correct. Right? And then the 2K run, you go run from YMCA up to the field. You do 2 laps around the field, and then you come back down.
Right.
And then the 16 to 22, that is 600 meters.
Okay.
And the 3K run, you run from the YMCA up into the development that have in the back. You come back out to the main road, back into the development, and then back down to YMCA. That's a 3K run.
It's everything is happening in and around
that small area. So it's not that you have to go out on the main road.
Right.
It's everything. It's kind of like a beginners to get people into aquathlon. And then we have the 23 and above, or the elite, where, I mean, it's the same 600 and the 3K. And, you know, we try and have medals for all the finishers once you finish that race. And we want everybody to come out and try.
Yeah, and how has the response been thus far since you started advertising for the event?
But thus far, we have a lot of people from the swim team who are interested, and a lot of people.
Right. This is the same swim team that mashed up Trinidad.
That's correct.
Carbaseg, Crumpy, and Bishops.
Yes, that same swim team.
It's something to look forward to as well.
Correct,
to see some of Tobago's best swimmers.
That is correct.
And some of those swimmers just started the program in terms of your swim.
Yeah, they came from the Learn to Swim program at the YMCA, and they came across onto the swim team, and they have been doing well. So from that, we don't want to limit people just to swimming. Just like with Jacob, you know, he transitioned into triathlon. And the same thing with these swimmers. They could make a national team on swimming, and they could also make a triathlon team where they can go for aquathlon. Because when Jacob first did the Carifta, he made it in aquathlon.
Right.
And then now he's a try boy, you know, he's doing it well.
Tell me about Jacob. I mean, you are a national coach, and I mean, he has been the standout for Trinidad and Tobago, let me put it that way. He's from Tobago and been the standout, and he's been out there by himself. How would you, comment on his development as a triathlete, if you put it that way?
Well, he's done really well, especially since it's only 8 months since he have started. He has a lot of coaches behind him. So he has his 2 EXO coaches. They're from Trinidad. That's Aliyah Drakes and Daniel. Derek Daniel.
Right.
Hey, Marcus Daniel.
Daniel, he went in the family, no?
Right. His swim coaches is myself and Coach Rochelle, as you know, and his cycling coach is Marlon Winter Roach. So we come together and we worked hard with Jacob, you know, and for the 8 months, so when he started off, it was a little shaky because it was a learning curve for him.
Right.
And then as soon as he got that curve, you know, with the push of all of his coaches, you know, when he started that Rainbow Cup and he came first in the Rainbow Cup, that was like his set so that he went, and then he went to Carifta and he came third as well. And then after in the duathlon, which make him a treble, he's the only person, I think, this year that has medaled or went on the podium for all national events. I don't think anybody really has done that.
Quite an
for 8 months to do that. Very
and
well
I want
done.
to shout out to his mom as well, Miss Claire Cox.
Claire,
I mean, and to have that support,
correct.
I mean, as a parent, because I mean, you know how it is moving to Tobago, right? You have a swimming lessons. I drop you off and I go and come back. And I can see that Miss Cox, she has dedicated her time to ensure that her son gets to the top level.
That's
in that
correct.
sense. And in terms of Jacob, have you seen any other athlete, whether it's duathlon, triathlon, or the aquathlon, that can get to that stage?
Yeah, most definitely. We have a lot of people who have crossed from track and field, so they have been in both the Zenith Club and
they switch from
I won't say they switch, because they do the boat training. So we have like Malik Young, we have Israel.
Yes, some Malik with medals and
Malik
is really good.
Correct. And he's good at swimming as well.
Wow.
And then we have Israel Jordan. He's actually done both. And then
really good.
we have new up-and-coming Zaya Tobias. She's actually good in track, and then she does swimming as well. And then there's so many people.
Yeah, and it's so good to actually do swimming or to incorporate swimming with your track program as well.
Because swimming is such a low impact sport that it can help with the recovery, and it actually helps with your endurance. So when you go into track, you should have that endurance to run your race a little harder, a little longer.
I used to be a big swimmer. I grew up in Castor.
Come on to the Aquathlon. The Aquathlon is here for you. A little 600, a 3K run, and you're good to go.
So tell me about just as we wrap. So it's not limited to only persons who would have participated in your swim meet.
Correct. No.
Members of the public can jump in as well.
Members of the public. Once you can swim and you can run, I mean, if you could walk, that's all part of it.
We have lifeguards there
too.
We
have lifeguards there, you know. So, we start at 7 a.m. It's $50. To register, we have online registration. It's bit.ly/exo- AWSC. Right?
So medal, I can come because I got medal.
Medal for all finishers. I mean, I think the swimming might be the most challenging part, but at the end of the day, all you have to do is make it to the end.
Yes, make it to the end.
We take it all type of swimming. Because at the end of the day, we just need to see where we are and see what talent we have. Don't count yourself out because you feel like you might not be able to. You know? Try your hand.
But I'm so happy to see the YMCA back up and running and functional. I mean, it's been going for a while, and I'm happy to see you guys are doing what we've been doing before COVID and all these different things. And I want to wish you all the best with the event. Who knows, you may see me down there with my chunks. I mean, I ain't giving you that 16 laps I told him. I can try. I can make it around the field. So, all of Tobago, you don't have to be a certified swimmer or qualified swimmer. Let's go out and participate or encourage persons in the community to go and participate in the event. Medals for everybody. But you had to finish. Only $50 to register, right?
$50 to register, and registration closes on the 27th of November, guys.
And I want to congratulate you on all the success. I mean, next time we're going to talk about all the different things you've been doing, but keep up the great work as a coach, and of course, Rachel and all the other coaches who've been performing wonderfully well outside Trinidad and Tobago, representing Trinidad and Tobago. Guys, of course, as per usual, out of time for sports. I mean, I've really been trying and campaigning for an extended period when it comes to sports on a Friday, but I'm getting there. Of course, up next with Candice Jackson on Good Morning Tobago, we're going to hear from Assemblyman Wayne Clark, of course, beneath the surface. So stay tuned for that. Of course, continue to share the live, and stay safe out there. And of course, if you like cricket, get down to the Shop at Recreation Ground. We have the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast happening, of course, up until the 3rd of December. We had a fall start yesterday with the rain. Who knows what will happen today? But guys, thank you so much for being with us here this morning. Of course, short break. Come back with Assemblyman Wayne Clark.
And not so much about making a profit.
They have the role of fostering Tobago's small and medium-sized enterprises with growth support. And one such way the Business Development Unit does this is through Creative Tank. In this year's finals, 8 entrepreneurs had the chance to pitch their business models in only 3 minutes at the finals of the competition.
This year, because we've recognized the growth as well as the potential for growth in our tourism sector, we've expanded and focused on our tourism industry. This year, 17 participants would have entered the competition in the fields of mixology, recreation, tours, and promoters.
We want to see how much more creative you can be with your offerings and how you can now move your business in the most upscaled manner from where it is to where it needs to be. But most importantly, this is the THA giving a commitment that we are interested in supporting your business to the next level. What is that next level? Well, that's what we are anxious to see from today's installation of the program.
But only one person could be named the Entrepreneur Extraordinaire of 2023. In the end, this presentation got the judges' nods of approval.
Nylon pool tours, evening cruise, jet ski, anybody?
Nah, not today, brother.
All right. Nylon pool tours, jet ski, evening cruise, anything today?
Nah, we good.
What is this here, boy? Ross, I always seen you here. Anything today? Nylon pool talk?
Nah, I actually real good and I already have a booking with All Things Tobago. I mean my booking online. All Things Tobago is a digital marketing tourism agency where we create a digital experience of what a true vacation in paradise should be like, and we share that with our audience. Now, not only do we create that digital experience, we would have create a community with different businesses located on the island, and we generate business for them and assist them in creating an elevated service.
One of the things that showed up here today was a crisis of confidence. People were incredibly nervous in front of the camera. And one of the things that we have to build as we move and make our way in the world is the opportunity to stand up and talk, to sell ourselves, to sell our business, to sell our idea, to sell who we are. And so as you're operating in the niche of the tourism space, this becomes even more important because you're communicating to people who don't know you, who know nothing about the island. And so you need a stronger communicative presence. And that will come from you having confidence in who you are, how you are representing the island, and all of that will flow. There is no doubt that all of the 8 people here today were technically competent for the niche categories in which they operated. But in terms of some of the general skills, building out the marketing, figuring out some of the other things that come along with that, those are the things that we need to work on.
The entrepreneur extraordinaire walked away with $20,000, taking the prizes for Most Innovative Business, All Things Tobago, Most Promoting Business, JT Salt Life, and Most Engaging Entrepreneur, Cleon McPherson. Awards were also distributed to winners in each category. Tavier James won in the category of Mixology, Alphalea Telesford Recreation, Gideon McKellar Tours, and Cleon McPherson Promoters. Creative Tank is hosted by the Business Development Unit of the Division of Finance, Trade, and the Economy.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Morning people, morning Tobago, morning folks from all over the world who are watching us on Updates, Tobago Updates, and of course we're coming to you from a lovely studio in Portmore in Scarborough. And of course this morning we continue our particular program or shows where we call it Beneath the Surface. And we're looking at all the members of the Assembly, having a lovely chat with them, looking at some of their private lives and some of their achievements in their respective divisions in the Tobago House of Assembly. We started this program about 4 days ago and continuously and go right up until the 6th of December, where our final person will be here, will be the Chief Secretary, Farley Chavez Augustine. This morning, I have the honor and privilege to be chatting with a well-known gentleman whose voice commands attention anywhere he goes. The way he speaks, the way he expresses himself is known to the public near and far. And this is what I like about chatting with him. He's very outspoken, very straightforward. I want to especially welcome to the program this morning, Wayne Wasp Clark. Wayne, my friend, welcome to the program. I really appreciate you making an effort to be here. Makes it easy for people like you when we have to interview you all. You're here on time before the host and all kind of thing. You tried to embarrass me this morning, you know.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Is that nice way of saying that?
The host was late.
But I thought you'd leave that for the people to pick up that. You know, but the program started on time, eh?
That's important.
That's the important thing. Yeah, man. So how are you doing?
Not bad. On the job.
You're looking young as ever, like you're really dealing with young people, boy.
Well, it's part of the job.
All right. We want to continue our program as we started a few days ago, as I said earlier. And this program, Beneath the Surface, we want to get a little insight into what happened to them, you know, how they grew up, what influenced their lives to make them achieve where you are. You were well known in the sporting field, and you're on the radio tampering for quite some time and expressing yourself in a very pragmatic way. You know, these are some of the qualities of human beings that I personally like, when people are very straightforward with you. You know, you can't trust and deal with deceitful people. When you hear Was make a comment, you know, it's a comment that you have to value and take seriously. So what led you to have this kind of personality? You had to tell us, it had to be something with your grounding or your growing up, or as people will say a long time, you're brought up, see.
Well, you know, regardless of the kind of growing up, the kind of parenting you had, there comes a time when you have to make a decision to define where you want to be, where you want to go. And in many instances, sometimes it's easier if it's in alignment with how you were brought up, and sometimes you have to make a about turn. So, you know, it's a sort of mix there, a little here, a little there, and you put it together.
But I'm always interested to find out how you grew up around grandparents also, or you had elderly people in life, or just parents, or some people like yourself, you know, didn't have much parents to guide them, you know, there are other people in their life. What is the situation with you as you're growing up?
I had a little about, I had some time with grandparents, well, my grandmother by my father's side. For my mother came out of Mariah, the Samson. And I had a little interaction with the grandparents on that side, not much. So, you know, it was more on the Lambo side. I spent a longer time, live right next to my grandmother, so I had a lot of interaction with her. The little more difficult part was that eventually I had also survived, you know, being a member of a broken home. And I think that in itself was the bigger part of the education. And that is what sort of brought me to...
You have to build your survival skills.
Good. And it gave me a deep appreciation for volunteerism, which is the reason why I ended up in a lot of schools volunteering at times. Because I wanted to share my experiences because one of the things about the modern day child, 90% of them comes out of a broken home, single parenting, and I myself being a survivor.
And you want to let people know that single parent is not just absentee fathers, sometimes could be absentee mothers.
Well, in 90% of the times now it's mothers who have to bear the brunt of it.
Yeah, absent fathers then.
Right. Being somebody who came through that system, I always see myself as being able to relate to people who are there now. And that is what sort of gave me that motivation to go in that direction. You know, I volunteer at Lambo School, which is the only school I attend. Primary school. I'm a primary school dropout. It's just the truth. And I've been to Dorothy Moses before that. So I sort of have a close connection to those schools. So I'm always there, even at this age. I left Dorothy Moses in 1968. But even as today, I'm still there, assisting in whatever way they could, you know, whatever way I could. I'm always at Lambo School, and, you know, because sort of that is where the heart is. So getting into politics, for me, was my personal decision about looking at politics, was being able to have an opportunity to stretch my volunteerism. I mean, yeah, it's a paid job, but I'm just saying that the services that came out of volunteerism, it gave me an opportunity to stretch it far and wide.
But if you just go back a little to your upbringing, Apparently one of your parents was missing or absent for a while. Was it your father?
No, I actually stayed with my father.
Okay. Oh, I just wanted to make that clear. And how was it like living with your father, your mother maybe not around and so on? What kind of standards and styles and disciplines that you learn or you pick up from? Was he a very strict person or he just leave you to have your own way?
So that makes it about. That my mother wasn't totally around. She was living close by, so I still had a chance to. But it was difficult to adjust to. You're born into an environment with both parents, live a part of your life with both parents, and suddenly it was just sort of taken away from me, and you never understand why. Because, you know, as I said, that's big people business.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was with my father. I would occasionally visit my mother, you know. And after a few years with my father, I went to live with my mother. Soon after that, I was alone. I was living alone. By the time I got to like 20, I was living alone. The thing that
one of them passed also?
My father passed very early. I was just about 20 when my father passed, but it wasn't to do with that. I think after being on one side, and earlier on he was in the middle. So I thought, frankly, I thought my parents had too much children. So
you're part of what, 10 or 5 or 6?
10 immediately home, 13 overall. So I always kind of wanted to get out of the crowded situation, wanted to be on my own. So that was one of the reasons for...
Who or what inspired you to be on your own and to develop this kind of strength and purpose and want to play and go in a particular direction to achieve where you achieve?
You interact with different people in your life, and you know, sometimes all of one person when rub off on you, a little here, a little there, and because I always trying to work out this thing, I say, you know, talk with Mr. Jerry today, me ain't like that shorty girl, me nah. I gotta go with Jersey, but I like the pants, so I gotta take up that. So, you know, he's always... To me, always had to be assessing things as you live, as you go on, because the world is ever changing. So you always have to be being on top of things and making choices.
Yeah. But you know, quite a few people in that kind of situation, sometimes, a lot of the times they have what you might call community support. You know, you might have difficulty growing up and problems or issues with one or two of the parents, you know, and you have some people, a grandmother or other people from the community providing some kind of support or cajoling you, or advising you and helping you along. You had much of that or a little?
Well, I think that was the general nature of the Tobago we know. You know, so basically I think all communities would have a touch of the same across Tobago, in that, as the old saying is, to go a village is to raise a child. So I think we all would have benefited from that. You know, but there are people who would have stand out to me, like Mr. Hugh Daniel with sports. You know, that was my mentor. He taught me what I know, and he inspired me to actually get into coaching. You know, sometimes he has been inspiring me, not even knowing that he's doing it, because of somebody I always admire and watching him so close, you know. So we had a good bit of that. We had a lot of people in the community that you could have looked up to, that you could have talked to. So even being, I always see it as, it's so different to now, that the children now sort of are on their own. The adults of yesterday would not have allowed you to be on your own. So I think we were fortunate.
Even though you're pointing in a particular direction, they're somehow on their side, supporting you, or providing some guidance.
And correcting you, and scolding you. So, you know, the adults now have more of a hands-off approach. The adults of yesterday had a more hands-on approach. You know, it's like, we're saying that we want things to be better, but you find a parent go run down by the school and size up the teacher to fight, and he don't even know why the teacher correct the child. The parents of yesterday, you go home and say that you get next door licking. So it's a whole total different situation.
What do you think have caused that? What? Technology or what? Just people attitude just change? We move from an era where we community raise a child, you know, and to an era where people became more independent or maybe more selfish.
Well, I tend to go with the last one. And you see, sometimes you adopt a way and you don't even understand the fallout of it, the trouble that could come with it. It seems nice on top. If, for instance, you have $5 and I didn't have none, and you tell me, like, you got cinema, man, I got to pay for you, come on, man, we're partners. And when I have $5 tomorrow, I say, boy, look, you see me and this Jerry come and beg me for my money. Me have no money, boy, we can't go. You know, that level of selfishness, you might start with just this cinema demonstration, but it grows. It grows to when you have to make bigger decisions in life, you hold the same road, and you know it's only a recipe for chaos.
You know, as you talked about community, I just remember that when I was growing up, coming from school, in Plymouth School, with all my siblings and so on, and a lady gave us a Hannah banana to take for my mother, ripe bananas, you know, and my sister took it and she started eating the thing before she reached home. Boy, that thing was such a curtail on my sister, boy. But you know, in all of that, that was a lesson. You know, when people give you a thing to give somebody, you do it affair with it, you don't even open it, much less eat it. You know, carry out the instructions. Somebody tell you, give me so and so that. Make sure I'm going to give them that, you know.
And strange enough, it didn't have cell phone back then, but how did word used to get around so quick? You know, I guess it was a perfect demonstration of communication. You know, so it sort of kind of let today living look like, you know, in the abundance of water, the food thirsty. Because you have so much of devices at your disposal today, but as a people, we're very far apart.
Yeah, the level of discipline and things. But I want to get you to another aspect. People like William Mackenzie, who I knew before you, of course, and was involved in a lot of sporting activities and women cricket in particular, seine pulling and all this kind of thing, you know. Did he have any influence on you, or what he was doing in the community influence you at all?
Yes, as a little boy, I used to be with William. As a matter of fact, I worked in the yard there for years. I used to learn trade with his son. His son used to run a garage in the yard, so I used to learn trade with his son. So on many days, the garage might be slow. He come home, and he said, "Boss, what you think? Let me go and make a dragnet." That's how we used to call pulling the seine. And I used to be right up under him. So, you know, I had a lot of interaction with him. As a matter of fact, when I now started playing for Lambo as his senior team, he always used to make himself available when we had to go Charlottesville to play.
He had the transport or something?
A Land Rover Jeep. We used to leave Lambo 12 o'clock and you might meet up there till 2:30, but you know what, we get in there. So, you know, I had a lot of interaction with him, and it is one of the people that I must say that I admire a lot and look forward, you know, aspiring to take a page out of the book every year and day, because he was a selfless man.
Boy,
you know, he was a man who actually genuinely cared about you and was a perfect, he was one of the reasons why when I look at him and how he functioned, I didn't only know him as a politician, I knew Mr. Mackenzie, who will still walk outside with a tear pants, and we got to the sea and pull scene in a tear pants. So that's the Mr. Mackenzie I know, the more intimate Mr. Mackenzie, and he left a lasting impression on me.
I just imagined that would have been the case.
The politics is a next thing, but you know, Mr. Mackenzie as Mr. Mackenzie was one of a kind.
Yeah, you don't find too many of that about it at all.
As they say, you don't make them
selfish,
like that.
You know.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Selfless kind of person, boy, you know. Anyway, but you were contesting, you into the politics now, you contested an election in an area where Mr. Mackenzie held for a number of years. All my 3 terms in the assembly, I was there with Mr. Mackenzie. As much as we tried as a party in opposition at the time, or DAC, I think it was, we never able to
to Mr. Mackenzie in that area, in that Lambo. It used to be called Buku Lambo, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And it clearly shows that the man was well rooted in his community.
Indeed.
You know, and there's so much to learn about that, how we live. You know, me and he was talking once and he said, boy, when he was much younger, doing some mechanic, and he was repairing people's cars for like $5 or $2 and all kind of thing, and people wouldn't pay him. You know, he just never bother with them, you know, wait until the car breaks down again and he come and, you know, he still will fix it for them and this kind of thing. Just this selfless, no bitterness about the man. You know, he ain't carry no grudge and thing and bitterness in his heart. That's a strange man, you know, and just unique in every particular way. But I want to say that you won in that seat that the PNM never lost in the history of the elections in Tobago, that Lambo seat. What do you feel about that kind of achievement? You work so hard, but people just love you like Mr. Mackenzie.
I think it's more being out there, being always at it for a number of years. I mean, saying you win is one thing, but remember that was on the third attempt. You served 3 terms. I won on the third attempt. I contested 2017, 21 early and 21 late. So even from the present THE, there's only 3 people on the government that was there from the beginning, and that's the Chief Secretary, Dr. Faith, and myself.
Oh, yes. Oh, true. Yeah.
So I ran against Joe Mopit the first year, Tracy Davidson the second year, and Mr. Mackenzie's grandson on the third occasion.
Yeah.
So, and I must say, before I move from that, I must say losing sometimes is not to always be taken from a loser's perspective. Sometimes it shows you, because the first time I ran, to be honest, I didn't have a clue. I just know I wanted to go and offer myself a service to make a difference, but how you go about it, really? You know, one...
You did not necessary preparation.
Well, it's difficult to prepare if you don't know what you're preparing for, you know what I mean? Preparing for public life is a college by itself.
You're telling me?
So, you know, but I always see it as a learning experience, and on the second time I try to straighten out things that you would have missed, because reviewing is always good. Right? That's the ultimate teacher, to see where you went wrong and how you're going to address it.
I believe in that, boy.
And on the third occasion, I won.
Yeah, and that was quite interesting for the politics of Tobago to see where you came from and how that seat was, how the PNM lost that seat, you know, was quite interesting. But you enter politics, and everybody expected you to be in the area of some sport, you know, community, have some sport, you know, community responsibility. And you're the Assistant Secretary, Community Development, Youth and Sport, if my memory serves me right. Yeah. What are some of the things you have on your program, or you have pursued over the last 2 years to start with?
First of all, to take any direction, you live at Plymouth, right? And if you was traveling, like you're catching a car and you come out the road, then there's a reason why you take a car that's going up. Right? You know where you are and you know where you want to get to. So, and you have to assess where you are first of all. This is what we have to deal with, right? Because this is where we want to go. So after you do all of that, how do you get there? With what I have at my disposal in terms of resources you have. Right? It's always challenging. Let me say that in campaigning, in my understanding, a manifesto is a promise. Right? And sometimes people hold you to that promise, even in the absence of the expectation of resources. Right? You might produce a manifesto and it centers around $10. Now remember, the person that you read that manifesto have an expectation at $10. I don't think they are too interested in understanding after that all I got was $5. And therefore I have to realign everything. They hold you to the promise of, you say you're going to buy a car for everybody, I want a car. And that's one of the difficult things, and that's why when I am out on the street campaigning, in that particular election that I won, when people, what you could do for me? Because that's the first question you get from a lot of people, and I say, well, what I could do for sure, without even thinking twice, I offer you representation and communication with you as a resident. Mm-hmm. I would not sell you any pie in the sky because it would not be realistic at times. It's difficult to sort of make a promise of $5 in the room when really you've never been in the room, and in reality it's $3 there. Mm-hmm. So I try to keep the expectation down, keep it as real as possible, and tell you together we're going to have to chart a way forward, because you're not going to be allowed, where I am concerned, to drop the battle after election. You vote and dice it. I'm going to come to you. Just recently, I had a meeting in my constituency office with the residents. I said, there are things to do. I don't have all the ideas, and I need to hear from you what you want. Resources are scarce, so let us know what we could do to achieve some of the smaller things together.
Grab at the lower hanging fruit. But so you believe in the concept of, you teach a man to fish. More is better than giving him a fish.
Well, I think yes, because if you just give him a fish, when he's hungry, he will come for a next fish. Mm-hmm. And the fish you give him first might be the only fish you have. So
he may not get when he come back again.
A hungry man is a hungry man, so you know we're going to be greeting you when you don't have another fish to give him. But if you teach him to fish, he will turn his back on you and go and pursue what you were taught. Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, yes.
Mm-hmm. So how you cope with your responsibility? Your assistant secretary, what specific responsibilities you have?
Sport and youth affairs. Youth development, I should say.
Okay. So the community part is with the secretary?
Yes, we work together, but I have a little more direct say where the sporting aspect of it is concerned. I mean, it's not like I go off and make decisions on my own. I always communicate with him because it's a team, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm more aligned to the sporting part of it and the youth.
Yeah. All right. And you have any, I wonder if you should go for a break now. We should go for a break now. And when we come back, we want you to say what specific or special areas that you want to focus on with giving your responsibility. We'll deal with that when we come back from the break.
Do we get refreshments on the break?
Christmas we celebrating, cause B-Mobile they coming with rating. So brace yourself for plenty prices, cause this season will be the nice. It's the most deals and the most vibes and the most cars and the most price, the most giveaways, the most para. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile. I want a Christmas season with B-Mobile. Bring me sorry, let me toast to a Merry Christmas. Having a Christmas season with B-Mobile.
Top up, buy a plan, sign up or pay your bills. Enjoy the best Tobago Christmas. B-Mobile, life is on.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience, offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice car get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right. never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true, so just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
How it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna. Look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Tobago
Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Let's go!
The information is for know that it is available. So that's our job. We're actually on the job with that.
And you really have to start there, and at the same time, can't forget a particular training program for the people, the players, you know, the sportsmen and women who may be eventually will form part of the association or organization.
Well, I think part of our...
So you have to do that parallel with your training or coaching program.
But I think part of our falling down on the island is that where sport is concerned, we had a tradition of focusing on the players. When the reality is the players are very important, but officiating, you know, is even as important. And having a structure in the organization is even more important. So it's like, if you don't have a proper organization, you can't have a good program. You don't have a good program, you can't produce good quality sportsmen. So it all, you know, it's a chain that you have to keep all the links together in order to realize, you know, the fullest of what you're looking for.
Yeah. And so you're on the way. Most likely you're tackling those issues right now.
Where we are getting started, it's not, the truth is that change is very difficult. It is even more difficult than I thought. Because many times we tend to measure things on our ability, but it's not you're doing it for, you know? And not because something is okay for you and it looks pretty simple and routine for you, don't think for one moment that it's pretty simple and routine to who you're trying to reach out to. So sometimes we have to switch places. I just give you a thing. One day, a guy came to my office, was pretty furious about something. And frankly, I didn't know what to tell him. And all I could do was tell him, come around here, sit down where I sit down. And I went around and stand up where he was and said, if you was me, tell me what you would do. And no, and frankly, that put an end to he actually saw how ridiculous he was being. He actually told me, well, no, I will not do that. So I didn't have nowhere else to go in terms of, we didn't have a battle again. And we was able to come to an understanding. We actually have a very good relationship now. So sometimes, you know...
So it's your approach to some of these things, you know, and these challenges.
Exactly. And, you know, I really don't have I just call it a college approach. I operate from a layman's perspective in every aspect because that's who I am. So I never try to step out of my box to be different because we struggle with that.
Yeah. You know, preparing for this program, I was wondering, you know, which one of the disciplines that you could really focus on? You can't focus on football and forget cricket. You can't forget swimming. You can't forget athletics. You know, these are some of the key netball, burgeoning kind of area as well. You know, tennis, another area, you know, the lawn tennis program with all these people. Which area you could really focus on? You have to have some focus on all these areas.
Well, it has to be a little wide. You know, it cannot be a one direction, but to cover all, you could say that we try to focus on structuring of the organizations to get to development, to get to the... So, you know, because over the years...
But after 2 years, you're still working on the development, structuring of the organization?
Sometimes a problem is not cut and dry. And you will be fooling yourself to say, I'll give myself a year to do that, a year to do that, a year to do that, when in reality, the problem requires more than a year's attention. You know, let me just use a simple thing as saying that is once pick any habit you have that mightn't be the rightest thing. Without understanding, it's very difficult to get you to change it. You know?
But we live in a very, in a society that we have to just come off of warm seats and nice, cushy offices and get down to the roots and to the bottom of some of these issues. You have sports officers and other people who are responsible and have training in developing sporting athletes and sporting organization. Many of these people with the degrees, where they just have it in training, kick ball up, trick a bat. So organizing the thing is part of the training.
Let's be clear on that. I'm sure you could recall going to school, and there might be some guy or a girl who was present every day, but they can't do a simple thing as putting a sentence together. So we sometimes place too much pressure, I should say, or high expectation on some of these officers, saying that you think a man have a degree and you think he should be able to get in there and work things out, and sometimes it don't always be like that. Sometimes it's very difficult for even them, right? Some of the officers, a lot of instances, my experiences taught me that sometimes apparently when people aspiring to get this degree and that they detach themselves from reality. And then it had to be a whole learning curve again for them to come and reintegrate themselves back with the society. In a lot of ways, the people that you're working with are detached from reality. And
how many sports officers here?
There's a few, I think about 6, 8. They have multiple responsibilities, but
are they some of them specifically attached to, say, football or cricket?
Yeah, so you will, how it works right now, which is always open to suggestion and improvement, how it works right now, then you'll have a guy, you assign him to a zone. Right? Let me say this guy is seen about, well, I just use the word zone. This guy is seen about Plymouth Blackrock. In Plymouth Blackrock, you would have watched and see, well, the most popular things going on there is football, cricket, basketball. So you take somebody who is more acquainted with those disciplines and you place them there, right? They are the ones now who has to interact and do the reporting back to the main office that this is needed, that is off, so we probably need a program here to bring this up to speed. And so that's where it is now. It mightn't be the most perfect situation, but in truthful speaking, that's where we are.
So, Asboy, we really look like we have a lot of work to do still.
Indeed.
After 2 years.
We have a lot of work, and the reality is, without you deciding to be a dictator, things take time. When I say a dictator, you approach your governance. Things take time. And this is not looking for excuses, but I'm telling you, if we have to get to where we want to get to, it will take a lot more time than 2 years. You're talking about changing people's perspective. You're talking about...
In the meantime, there's competition and national and international competition that people had to prepare for to carry themselves to a certain standard.
Yeah, well, you're not...
Maybe with or without your division support.
Well, that happens. It's not that you're sitting and waiting for the change to come in order to do anything. The life continues, the program continues, but the program continues with constantly chopping and changing. Because along the way, I mean, you have to be something other than smart. The opposite. To see something and working, even though that was the plan you had, and stay with it. See, we always had to be open for adjustments, open to listen, open to learn, open to coordinating with people and doing all that is required. And that in itself is a wide, But it's not all doom and gloom. There are some aspects in sports in Tobago that we have been making great strides in nationally. You look at Bishops, they do very well in netball, basketball. You look at in some other aspects, Phoenix are doing great with football. And, basketball went through a little lull with trying to get them up and running again because a good part of the society in terms of numbers was attached to basketball. And if you're doing good at, one of the things that always puzzled me in the Tobago space, we dominate, say, primary school football. There was a couple of years ago that 2 Tobago schools actually played the national finals. Right? But the disheartening part about it is that, and let me just make it clear, I'm not a Trinidad hater, but there are certain things that is just the reality of the situation. How do you explain 2 Tobago schools get to the final of the national competition and tomorrow you select a primary school team and 1 Tobago child on it? You would want to think it's a worldwide practice that you start looking by the winners. And this don't happen.
Because there must be some reason why the winners reach where they are.
Exactly. And to be frank, without any kind of looking to excuse or looking to offend anybody, it's a fact that Tobago has not been treated the best way in terms of
In other words,
sport.
they've been discriminated.
All right, well, that word didn't come out yet when I left school, so. but yes, I said deprive. And it's always difficult. Think about it. At Tobagonian, the reality of the situation has to be twice as good to make the national team.
Yeah.
You know, and
you have to have more Dwight Yorks and that kind of thing.
in some instances, you actually have to relocate. There are instances that children hear the same coach come up, do screening, watch them. You ain't good enough. Transfer them to a school in Trinidad tomorrow and they're on the team. How do you explain that? That in itself sort of demoralizes a lot of children. I, as a coach, because you know I've been coaching far and wide, I, as a coach, had to put up with young men watching you and tell you, look, coach, me ain't able with that, you know, because when you go there, they just don't take you on. They don't pick you. One chap told me he was an opening batsman for Tobago. Got a call up for national trials, and in the trial game, they put him to bat at number 7. You batting with the tail, and that's how you could.
You can't make runs.
Right. So, you know, situations like that, and it's a fact. I'm not saying this encouraging anybody or me, myself, hating anybody, but this is the reality that we're, and it's more important that we have to get with our game and always be on our A game in order to break through. We see this, we experience it over the years, and we have to get to the place where we have to stop blaming people and just be the best. You can't deny the results. We beat you, so that you fought because the world changed. Don't care where you are, once you're good in what you do, somebody is going to find you, because in the professional sport, they look for the best. They don't care where you come from.
And in terms of, I want to go back to coaching. All these areas are so important. You can't say one better than the other. In terms of coaching and getting people to reach national and even international standard, we ever thought of bringing a Jamaican coach, one of these guys from Jamaica in athletics, can't remember his name, a well-known guy, and or some well-known coach with some experience to Trinidad and Tobago to have a lot of these. Look, this girl from Plymouth, what is her name? Baptiste. You know, a lot of the ground training was done here, but you know, she had to go abroad and to experience that kind of competition, their kind of standard of coaching. You know, I'm not discriminating or putting down the level of coaching that brought her up to her standard. You know, but what we're doing to taking these things to another level to reach and compete internationally.
Well, I mean, collaboration
just
is
like
important.
What Kellyanne Baptiste did.
Collaboration is important, and we have to understand that we might not have all that we need to take us to where we want to be, and therefore you have to look to see where that assistance could come. I mean, frankly speaking, on the national stage, too much at times we operate like two different countries and not taking into consideration that the reality is that we are one country with two islands, right? Because in many instances, these programs they come to Trinidad, they don't come to Tobago. Sometimes you never know about it, right? So that's where one of the areas that we have to work on. The larger government of the day at times need to place an eye here. It's not just giving Tobago an allocation and tell them go and do what you have to do. We have to communicate, we have to combine in order to get things done at times. I hear plenty of people talk about this Jamaican model and the Jamaican model. I mean, I've been to Jamaica, I visit some of the colleges, see their programs and all that. But one thing we have to remember that every child in Trinidad and Tobago, under normal circumstances, goes to secondary school. It's not the same in Jamaica. Right? I think you would know that. They pay to go to secondary school there. So it's difficult at times to try to fashion a program after what they have.
They pay to even go to primary school and go right up there.
Right. So I'm saying is that
we're better off in terms of resources and institutions for everybody to equally go and into these institutions, into these schools, more or less basically free. You know, Jamaica doesn't have that, or maybe Haiti doesn't have that, but they still have outstanding.
Because Jamaica, although you have to pay to go to school, so you will realize that there are a lot of scholarships offered in the system. Because they will get the talent, give them a scholarship so they will get to attend the schools.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's a different approach. What we could capitalize on as I've been to Bahamas for the Carifta Games. And that's one of the things that I'm a little proud of. Over the years, we had 2 years in office, and I was able to, the children from Tobago that made the national team to go to Carifta, I was able to convince the chief that we need not only to try to strive for exposure for the children, but sometimes a parent would use all the mega means they have to get their children to that stage, and they themselves never get to see them perform at that stage. So we have this initiative that last year to go to Jamaica, we took 1 parent from every child that made the team. And we did the same for the Bahamas this year, where we took 10. All wasn't able to make the trip. There was about 20 children that got onto the team this year, as to 7 or 8 last year.
So what do you think that would do, bringing the parents along?
It does a lot because and I stay every step of the way with them. With this initiative, the parents actually get to see their children perform in that different environment. You see the children sometimes after they compete, they run up to the stands, you hug their parents. So it's an experience you can't pay for. And it's something that we intend to keep and, expand on it. Right? We come into the facility that we erected in Black Rock. It's not complete, but it was able to host the Commonwealth Games. It wasn't, and I want to make this clear, it wasn't built for the Commonwealth Games for the athletes. It was built for Tobago as a legacy project. So the work will continue there, and we will continue to, and by the way, there's a lot of interest being shown from an international scale for this facility.
But I hearing about that for the last 2 or 3 months, and we ain't seen nothing yet.
Right. So
nothing finalized or formalized as yet.
So what happens is that, fortunately, the way how we plan is different to how international people plan. An international body will approach you for something for 2026, for 2025. A local person will approach you today for tomorrow. So it's a whole different set of dynamics. But
I thought there was supposed to be something there in November this month.
There's the Chief Secretary's beach football tournament there.
Oh, right.
That we're trying, because one of the things, if you're going to place yourself out as a sports tourism destination, you might attract a team to come here, but the onus is on you to actually take the opportunity to develop in so many different aspects that if a beach football team comes here, you have a beach football team to play them. Then your coaches could interact with them and get some of the knowledge, and So that's where we are, and that's the reason why we start the Chief Secretary's football, and then
football.
Right, and then we're going to have another one with volleyball, because you want to develop. You have the facility. You didn't build the facility for foreigners. You build the facility to enhance you not only as a destination but as a people.
Yeah. Boy. So I am seeing that we have some serious challenges, notwithstanding the fact that we had some successes with some of the disciplines and some of the sports.
It would always be a challenge.
Yeah, but we really had to get down and to dig down into some of these areas and provide good structure for the organization, provide good resources or funding, or help them to get up the kind of structure. So you have to have training programs for them,
Yes,
and that is extremely important.
Yes, and I will say that while in the Bahamas, for the Carifta Games, we stayed back, had a couple of meetings with the sports ministers and those people, and they are quite interested to lend us that support in terms of when people ask me what I think is most needed, I tell them administrative and coaching education. I think that's the pillars of what we have to build on.
You're quite right.
And they were very interested to collaborate with us. As a matter of fact, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have a meeting with the chiefs, because I told them I want the chief to be in attendance at the meeting, a virtual meeting with the sports minister there and our people here to see how we can collaborate.
But it's just that you happen to be associated with the Bahamas because you're attending a function there. Because people would ask, what happened to Trinidad? And Trinidad has some fantastic sporting administrators and so on over the years in every discipline. You know, they had their challenges too, but they have some outstanding folks.
Well,
even Barbados, you know, have some outstanding folks in the different discipline.
You have to start somewhere, and I took the opportunity to start. I went to the Bahamas as accompanying the parents with the Carifta, and you took the opportunity to explore as far and wide as you could. We did that with Jamaica last year. By no means it's going to stop. It's a continuing process. And in the meantime, we have to try to find the resolve, find whatever is required to stop being two separate countries and be one country. Just understand that we are two separated islands. Because there were a lot of challenges. I'm sure you would have been privileged to somebody talk in this space when we was constructing in Black Rock, right? We was defiant to the authorities nationally that we're not going to do a temporary place in Pigeon Point.
That is nonsense.
But the thing about it, that caused people to be very angry. And we had to be defiant and say, no, we're not going to do that.
That is why we have a Tobago House of Assembly.
Right. So everybody would hear the minister probably on every radio station and every TV station. They don't have no EMA approval and they don't have this and they don't have that. And I was of the fact that I'm not too big to learn. Might be senior in age to a lot of people are functioning around, but I'm young in the politics. So you have to humble yourself as a child and try to learn. I told the people responsible, okay, if it is that we didn't apply for the EMA approval, don't be too, put your tail between your legs and go and apply for it. If that's the process, that's the process. And we humble ourselves and we did, only to find out, after all that ranting on a national level, the very EMA had to tell you don't need an approval for that.
Because it's the area that you're doing.
It's a recreational area. It was designated a recreational area. So it left you in the place that you want to find out, why do we rant sometime when we rant?
Yeah,
and you're
maybe
all,
just for the political
one of the
reasons
most important lessons I learned in politics is that not everybody behind you is backing you. Because the easiest place to push you down is when you're backed onto somebody and you're watching.
You know, it reminds me in my early days of the assembly and other people early days in the assembly. You know, the state of the roads, maybe you may not remember in the 1980s, early 80s, or before the assembly, how the roads were. And the reason that the government of the day was giving is that, listen, we didn't have the resources to acquire all those roads or the land from the people to get these roads widened and drainage put in and all that kind of thing, you know? So that was the reason why they kept us in the state. And that was the reason why the DAC won the election. And so when the DAC got into power, one of the first things they did, because they had no control over state lands and that kind of thing, you know, they can't acquire no land. They went to all them communities that have bottleneck and people own lands right up to the little narrow path where you're passing and so on, and asked them for permission to widen the road.
And in some cases it worked.
It worked in most cases.
Right. So
most cases it worked without going through all this formal thing about going through to commissioner state land and acquiring land and paying for land. And
sometimes formality is a weapon that is used on you to not have you advance your intentions.
Yeah.
And we have to be very mindful of that in the Tobago space. And sometimes it's good for people to have expectations. Very good. It's also good for people to be realistic.
And it's even more important for people to be realistic.
What we have to be mindful of is sometimes a little confusing situation comes upon me. That, okay, we have a Tobago East and West representative, right? Some things must be etched in law, and some things we as people have to be realistic and sensible enough to know this can't work without this. Where's the collaboration with, just as how the law mandates the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary to interact? Shouldn't public good sense mandate the East and West representative to collaborate with the Tobago House of Assembly. Because what we will find is that two people going to Trinidad, well, you know, we have the Tobago, we are saying they're going down to Trinidad, and we used to say a long time, we had to send down people who could go and fight. Two people going to the National Parliament to represent us. But what are the things that they're going to represent us on? Are they going to fly their party agenda, or are they going to fly the Tobago agenda? Has the Tobago House of Assembly and the East and West representative in the 2 years that we speak had a conversation officially to say, well, let us hold one line and try to advance this or that? And I could tell you as a resounding no. Right?
Yeah.
Our politics, as shameful as it sounds, but it's just the truth. You have a situation, and that's why it takes so long at times for people to get to any place. You have a situation that the THA was governed by one political party for 20 years. That's the DAC, DNA, or whatever. And then you had another shift for another 20 plus years, 21 or whatever years, right? It is difficult, and both parties would have experienced some of it. It is difficult to have somebody dancing one way for 20 years, and one day you come and tell them, this ain't right, you have to change this. In some place, they will fight you to the end. They will defy you.
Sometimes might erupt in revolt.
Well, right. So what I'm saying is that where do we get off and stop the foolish politicking and understand that this is a Tobago thing? Where do we understand that one cannot advance without the other? Because when you find yourself is in a comical situation. You know, long time when I was going to Lambo school, and they had a board latrine, a long board latrine, and you're complaining that it's in a deplorable state. So they say, all right, the school inspectors will come and visit next week, Thursday. And whole week you're scrubbing it out and paint it. And when they come, they're going to say, well, what you making noise about? We have some of that in us. And we have to change it in order to advance. The reality that we face, you could think what you want. The reality that we face is that a lot of Tobagonians are between that rock and a hard place where a decision has to be made. If I'm going to serve Tobago, if I'm going to serve my party.
Yeah.
And we have to stop.
And it's very difficult, especially when you have two people in one party and they belong to the government side and somebody else on the THA on the other side. You know, generally they take what the political leader or the prime minister says.
And this is why I say that you have to make that decision. Because let me tell you, strange enough.
And when a serious and genuine collaboration is required.
When I got elected, one of the first things I did was have a conversation with the Tobago West MP. Because I didn't see party, I was seeing Tobago. And I said that I'm prepared to work with you because I don't think we can advance Tobago's cause being separate. So I'm prepared to work with you. The day when we got sworn in, I went to the minority leader. I said, I'm prepared to work with you. And I give you my commitment that if you bring something to the house that I honestly think is in Tobago's interest, even if I have to break tradition and support it, I will. Because that is what is required to advance it.
And what was his response?
Well, yeah, until next half an hour, there was a press conference, and it was the opposite to what we talk and discuss. So the bigger problem, the bigger thing that is facing us is where are we as a people going to get off of the party lines? People are dying.
The interests of Tobago must come first.
Well, it's the interest of some people party that come in first. It's okay if they had to destroy Tobago for it. Because if you watch at certain things, I don't get hasty here, but if you watch at certain things, look at what year did the Dispute Resolution Commission ruling came into effect?
That would be before 1996.
2001, right? Somewhere around there, because Ho Choi never get to see the light of that as Chief Secretary.
Well, he was a Chief Secretary in 1996.
Right, to 2001.
Okay.
So, but all I'm saying is that
yes, it could be around that time.
His administration never saw the benefits of that. All right, but we boast about having a Dispute Resolution Commission ruling, and 23 years later, it might have been a great relief and an upgrade to what existed at the time. Did we, in doing that, see the need in these 23 years that went after to say, well, this thing has to be revised every 10 years or every 4 years? Because you have people now holding you to that. And you, a man was in the politics, has Tobago ever received 5% of that allocation?
No. And then if you're not even receiving 5, and it's up to 6.9, I think was the limit, and you're not even receiving 5. You know, what is the sense of asking for review? Because you're not even reaching the capacity.
So this is the point I'm making. You have to understand that people will use things to prevent you from advancing. And
definitely, that is the nature of the politics, and that is where we have to get
I am saying
below us.
It's not a system that can advance us. It is not. It is not going to help us. We said that Tobago want to thrive on tourism. How can you get to that place if you can't get to the island?
Well, there is where airlift and sea bridge support is extremely valuable.
I've seen that
the Chief Secretary is going to make an announcement about that.
I've seen that we are close to that time, but I'm saying also that we have a situation in sort of looking to close. We have a situation that in many instances, because of political foolishness, all of us going to suffer. And we have two things in wrapping up. How can you seek any progress when we have a situation that the quarry is one of the things that could bail us out to a certain extent financially, but you were denied a license to export the material from the quarry. After, for 20 years, it was routine renewing it.
Yeah, that is where the way you call it nasty politics.
So, but what I'm saying is that where do we get off? You are prepared to suffer and kill off an island to forward your political agenda?
Well, the Assembly has different course of action that they can take, and the public or the population and the people resident and who live here and who vote here, you know, they have decisions.
They are the ones that have to wake up.
They have to make decisions with respect.
It's just like they're telling you somebody have something in front of you, and they tell you watch, but don't touch. And after 10 years, they tell you, okay, touch, but don't taste. And 10 years pass again, and they tell you, taste, but don't chew.
Or don't swallow.
No, well, that's for the last 10 years, and they're going to tell you, chew, but don't swallow. And that is the Tobago situation.
We have to do better than that. Well, thank you very much, boy. You have been quite inspirational guest, and I really see your fight, and I could understand your struggle and some of the issues why we can't move faster in the state where we are. But we have to continue trying, we have to continue communicating, and collaboration and decent and well-meant, you know, conversations with all the parties and all the persons concerned, I think may or should bring a difference or make a difference in our state here in Tobago.
All of us live in the Tobago space, and the Chief Secretary might have been misunderstood when he said we're going to make Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. You can't say that about Trinidad is a bigger island than Tobago. He didn't mean insulting Trinidad. He mean that we make it the greatest in which size and category. I don't think that just take that the right way.
I don't bother with them kind of small talk with these people. I find it's a nice mantra for us to work towards and so on, and deal with all the issues that can elevate us to be the best little island on the planet. You know?
I subscribe to that.
Okay, folks, this was an extremely hearty and really thought-provoking discussion that we're having here with WASP. Saying WASP all the time, but the man who correct name is Wayne Clark. But we all know him as WASP. Really dynamic. A lot of people don't know his correct name. You know, the man's correct name is Wayne Clark. Do write the man letters, official letters, and say, hey, WASP, I want this and so and so.
I just tell them to just change it, or I will change it. The information is what is important, not the title.
Yeah. But you have a particular way of doing things here, and that is important. So thank you very much, viewers, for listening and viewing, of course. And I look forward to all the comments and the suggestions, and even some of the little criticism that you have of me sometimes when we do these programs. These things help to strengthen us and help us do things differently or in a way that makes people understand or appreciate what we're doing here at Tobago Updates. So, partners, thanks again.
Thank you.
And see you next time, and keep up the good work. Continue fighting but fight with purpose, direction, and strategy. All right. See you next week. Tomorrow, Monday next week, yes. When we have, not too sure we have on Monday. Who that could be?
Another assembly.
Yeah, another assemblyman will be with us next week on next week Monday. So you have a blessed weekend. Nice weather. We just enjoy it. Other parts of the region are having a serious issue with a storm coming through at this late of November. Jamaica and other places, Turks and Caicos and some other places. One to the match last night. But last night was the match with yesterday?
Oh, with
and America.